Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic and welcome back to me. I've been on holiday and I am back in my home now, and thanks to the magic of some pre-recorded videos and recording some while I was on holiday, we have managed to get through all of my holiday with still doing 2 videos a day, and I'm delighted that that's been achieved, and also delighted that I'm back at my desk and able to keep going, and now I can bring you information on the daily basis. It's quite an exciting time to do that, actually, because while it's fun to travel, it's also fun to come home, and to come home to the fact that we're closing in on 500,000 subscribers. I mean, the number is mad. It is insane that there are 500,000 people nearly who follow the channel. If you do know anybody who's not subscribed, do encourage them to subscribe and join us, because when we get to 500,000, well, we're celebrating in a couple of ways. One is by giving you a discount code. There are a few copies of the book left, our Cracking the Cryptic Greatest Hits book, which has been very well received by the people who've got it. So do consider checking in the description field of the video. There is a coupon code there where you can get a discount on a copy of the book if you don't have it already. So do please consider that. And maybe even more exciting, we are also going to release a pack of free puzzles when we get to 500,000. Assuming we do get there, you never know, but I'm certainly hoping we do. Sorry about the bleep. And the authors of those puzzles are some of the very best authors. If you follow the channel, I'm not going to list the names because I'd leave somebody out and then I would feel that I'd let them down. But if you follow the channel, you will be familiar with the people whose names come up as the constructors of the puzzles, and either we or you immediately say, oh my gosh, this is going to be good, and just based on the name. And it's a lot of those people. And yeah, we're really looking forward to that. Of course, there's all our regular apps and our merchandise, and the links under the video should lead you to all the things connected with the channel. But today's puzzle is by Riff Clown, who has featured in number of puzzle packs in the past, and has been on the channel a few times. Excellent constructor. This puzzle is called It's a Setup. Now, I think there's a hint there. I'm glad I've spotted it, because I think there was a very obvious hint in a puzzle by Sumantha Mukherjee, and I completely ignored it and did the puzzle without considering set theory on that occasion, and people were just a bit baffled why I'd done that. Anyway, I'm going to hope I remember this one this time, but do try it on the link under the video. It's sure to be interesting, as I say. Well, yeah, I will also say, when I sort of started looking through the folders today of possible puzzles, it may be my somewhat jet-lagged state. I've just crossed the Atlantic from one heat wave to another. But there were a couple of puzzles that had been sent to us, and I looked at the rule set, and I wasn't sure I could figure them out in the state I'm in, and that's just not likely to make me want to do a puzzle. They were sort of not necessarily wildly complex. They were just a bit confusing, and yeah, that's not going to make me want to do a puzzle. So what we're doing instead is a puzzle which has relatively simple rules, in that it's killer and arrow Sudoku. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Digits in killer cages, that's all these dotted line cages, cannot repeat, and sum to the value given in the top left corner of the cage. So those 4 digits add up to 26. These 3 can't include a repeat and add up to 14. Digits along an arrow sum to the value of the number in the circle, so those 2 add up to that, and that's it. That's all we get. It's straightforward to understand. Now, yeah, we will, if you're not familiar with set theory, he says bravely, then watch my solve, and and learn a bit about it, because it's always fascinating when these work out. I'm not saying this is going to, but if you're watching this, it probably did. So let's get cracking. Now, set theory is, it stands for set equivalence theory, and it's a way of dividing the grid up into areas that are equivalent, that have equivalent either sets of numbers or, more likely in arrow Sudoku, equivalent totals. So what can we do? These are interesting areas to me, and symmetrically disposed, which is because RiffClown is always doing things with a touch of class. So I am going to try, I don't know. Another thing actually is that there are a lot of arrows in the central row and a lot of arrows in the central column. So if I was to look at those two columns and take, obviously each row in the grid by definition is a set of the digits from 1 to 9, and so is each column. So this is two sets of the digits 1 to 9 if you count this central cell twice. Whereas this column, it contains the sums of lots of bits of that. No, I'm going to go back to my original idea. Sorry, I don't know why that got highlighted. Let's highlight those two columns. And what am I going to highlight against them? Sorry, this is where I get very envious of Simon. He can see set theory break-ins at some brain level that I just can't. And that's fine. We all have our different strengths, but it does get a bit frustrating. Anyway, what am I going to measure those two against? I want to pick up the circles, don't I? So if I highlighted these in a different color, say yellow. So blue is two sets of the digits 1 to 9, and so is yellow. So I can eliminate from both sets these four cells because they're once blue and they're once yellow. So now I must still have the same digits, exactly the same set of digits in blue as I do in yellow. Now I'm going to try and eliminate some of the arrows against each other. So those two blues add up to that yellow because of the arrow. So I'm going to get rid of the colouring there. And that's the same with that arrow and this arrow and this arrow. So if we get rid of all of that colouring, then we have 10 yellows. Now we're talking about totals now, not the sets of the digits. The total of these 10 yellows must be the same as the total of these 6 blues. The minimum value for the yellows is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in each row. That adds up to 30. So the minimum value of the blues is 30. Which would make the value of those three cells 15. But I don't really see how that helps. And I don't think I've taken enough arrows into consideration. I want to pick up these two arrows as well. And this is an odd one because it's all in the same row, so it's hard to eliminate. Maybe that's not important for the set theory. Okay, let's go back a bit. I think maybe that was not. Yeah, no, I want to pick up. Let's go here. We've got 2 blue columns and 2 yellow rows that are the sets 1 to 9. Right. I'm interested in this box because it just has arrows in it. whereas the circles are outside it, but I want to get this circle in. Right, let's try these two rows as yellow as well. So we're picking up now rows 3, 4, 6 and 7 as yellow. I'm going to make this box blue, and I've got 3 sets of 1 to 9 in blue. Yes, and this box now, and that's going to let me eliminate quite a lot. Right, I think this is better. This is a blue set of digits, or 4 sets of 1 to 9 in blue. Columns 4 and 5, boxes 4 and 6. And in yellow, I've got 4 different rows, rows 3, 4, 6, and 7. So I know that each colour is representing 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. I'm going to eliminate the cells that share blue and yellowness. It's taken that arrow out. Anyway, yes, this is good. Right, now I'm going to take out these 4 arrows that I tried to take out before. I'm doing that again. And now I'm moving from set equivalence to total equivalence. I'm onto the sum of the numbers now. And now look, now I can eliminate those 2 blues and that yellow because they're on an arrow, and that yellow and those 2 blues, and there we go. This is great. Now, why is this great? This is because what I said before is still true. The 10 yellow cells add up to a minimum of 30 because they're 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 at a minimum in each of those 2 rows. But 30 is a very significant total because it's also the maximum for 4 digits in the same row that see each other. And therefore we have found an important equivalence, I believe now. So those blues add up to 30. They must be 9, 8, 7 and 6. That's the highest total for 4 Sudoku digits. All these yellows must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And by luck or judgment, I have stumbled, I think, on the proper set theory to get going. If those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are from 6, 7, 8, 9. These are from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, it is also true that this area that I highlighted earlier does add up to 30, because that was this set that I did earlier. So I'm going to bear that in mind, that yellow is also equivalent to the total of purple, as well as to the total of blue. These 3 add up to 15 as well. Now, this will all be a shambles if I can't actually make some progress from here. This arrow, look, the biggest, the most that total can be now is a 5. And these digits must therefore be from 1, 2, 3 or 4. What else is interesting here? In some ways, column 5 looked the most interesting in terms of totals, because that's 32. That means these other 3 cells, if we use the secret that a set of the digits from 1 to 9 adds up to 45 every time, we would know that these 3 highlighted cells add up to 13. And that looks appealing, but I don't think it's actually very helpful at the moment. Weirdly, I think it's this column that's going to give us something now. I have also briefly considered, I will just mention, I think that's where we're going to go, but I will just mention this in case it helps later. 16 plus 15 plus 21 is 53. No, it's not, it's 52. And this is a sort of very basic set theory equivalence. Let's just, shall I do colours here, or is that going to be totally confusing? I'm just going to quickly do them and then remove them. If we made those 9 cells red, because they are 9 cells, they're not different. They're actually, no, that's not set theory if I do that. So let's just forget that. But I was going to observe that that column adds up to 45. If these cells add up to 52, that means these 2 add up to 7 more than those 2. It's nothing to do with set theory. It's just something. And over here, in the symmetrical portion, it's not as helpful because those highlighted cells add up to 47, which means these 2 add up to 2 more than those, which I don't know, that's no use. But these are all things I might bear in mind as we go along. No, I'm going to go back to column 4 because, yes, these are restricted. These are beautifully restricted. Okay, this is lovely. This is lovely. Why are these two cells and these two cells so beautifully restricted? Because they can't have any of these digits in. Now, that's not just because this is a fairly high number and it's difficult to fit a high number on an arrow with a high number. You could do that in theory. But all of these 4 cells see these two. Now, how can I say that? Well, these 3 obviously see them in the same box. But this one, since it's a circle with a 2-cell arrow, that you can't have a shared digit there, because those 2 add up together and neither are 0 to make that. So whatever that is can't appear on that arrow. Whatever these are can't appear on that arrow. Therefore, this arrow can't contain any of 6, 7, 8 or 9. And it's got to have low digits. The same is true down here. Those 4 cells can't appear on that arrow. And now suddenly we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quintuple. And that is beautiful. That is utterly beautiful because these cells have to come from the higher numbers, 6, 7, 8 or 9. And this is a total of 14. So the minimum digits we can put in there are 6 and 7 there and 1 there, and bingo, that adds up to 14. So we know a digit in the grid. It's that 1 there. Now, this can't be a 9 on the arrow. That can't be a 6 in the circle. We can't have 1s anywhere here. Ah, look. Oh, this is sort of what this is what I missed from the first set I tried, is this little, I don't know whether to call it a plus sign or a shape or something. These cells add up to 15, we can now see. If we know that these purples add up to 30, we know that these cells add up to 15 as well. And this is an equivalence I think I could have discovered at the very beginning. And in fact, that was probably the more sensible transition from the 2 columns v 2 rows I was doing to get to the set that broke us in. Anyway, the point is, whatever this is, these cells are the others from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and add up to whatever they do. And it's the same as the total of these 2. And I mean, that's by virtue of the arrow shapes as well as the setting. Now, that doesn't mean I can fill them in. I'm not sure what they are, but... Or does it? Does it? Can either of these be a 5? Actually, both... No, hang on. We've got that 1 there. Of course, this is a 4 here, isn't it? This is totally obvious. That's a 6, 7, 8, 9 set, adds up to 30. That's a 10 gauge, takes the total to 40, plus 1. We need a 4 to make up the sum of 45 for the row. Now, they don't have a 4 in. They don't have a 4 in. That 2, 3, 5 is how we get the 10. That's actually how I got that. This is either 1, 2, 1, 3, or 2, 3. Obviously, that couldn't be a 1 or a 2. Now it can't be a 4 because of this 4. So this is either 3 adding 1 and 2 or 5 adding 2 and 3. So there's definitely a 2 at play there. That can't be a 2 in the same box. 4 and 3 or 4 and 5 puts 7 or 9 in that circle. Now, this arrow is either 1 and 2, 1 and 3, or 1 and 5. So this is 3, 4, or 6. But it's not 6 because this is this is a 6, 7 pair. So that's a 9. I hadn't spotted that. That 7 was never possible here because of the 6, 7 pair already in the box. So that's a 9. That's a 5. This is now... It can't be 1 plus 2 because this is a 2, 3 pair, so you can't put 3 here. So it must be 1 plus 3 equals 4. That's a 2, and just as we expected, that adds up to 15, as does that. This is now a 5, 8 pair. This could be an 8. 8, 6, 1 equals 15. This is even easier to be an 8. Okay, we can't have a 9 here. Now, we've got a 6, 7 pair there. So these two are an 8, 9 pair. These 4 cells, which now don't have a 1 in, add up to 14. Now that makes these two add up to 14. From 6, 7, 8, 9, that's a 6, 8 pair. And look, there's an X-wing on 8s. Because this is a 6, 8 pair and that's an 8, 9 pair, we must be using the 8s for both columns 3 and 4 there. And this can't be an 8. Oh, and much more obvious, how do I do the X-wing before I spot the ordinary Sudoku? A 6, 8 pair there takes 6 out of that cell, which is much simpler. And now it can't be 6 or 8. It must be a 7. That's an 8 in the circle because 1 plus 7 equals 8. These are a 6, 9 pair. Now, there's also nowhere for 9 in these cells. 9 is ruled out by being there. It can't be here because that would break this total. It can't be here because the minimum for these adds up to 7, 1 and 6. So 9 would take that total up to 16. So 9 must be in one of those two cells, which may not be very helpful. It's just something I've spotted. Right, what about these? Or, oh yes, these are seeing a 5, 8 pair in the column. Now, 8 has definitely been used in both those rows. It was an X-wing, so 8 comes out of those cells as possibilities. Still, this could be 8, 6, 1. What next? I really like the way this unfolds, actually. It's very, very neat. Right, 6 and 8. One of these is a 2, 4 pair and the other is a 3, 5 pair. I must know what these add up to, because this pair of arrows adds up to the same as that pair of circles. So they add up to 13. Plus 3 is 16, plus 5 and 8, which are 13, is 29, leaving 16 for those two cells. So they're a 9, 7 pair. So then on the arrows we have... no, that's really useful here, because once 6 has gone out of this cell, this can't be an 8 anymore. 8 plus 7 at a minimum there would give 0 here, which is nonsense. So that's a 5. That's an 8. Now this can't be 9, because again you'd need a 0. So that's a 7, that's a 2. This is a 9. 5 and 9 plus 1 makes that work. This is 4 or 6, but to make a 6 or 7 total here, we know that it's 6. 4 to complete the column. Look, we've got the central column done. That's a 6. That works. This is not a 2, 4 pair, so it's a 3, 5 pair. That's 8. That's 6. This is 8. That's 9. This is a 2, 4 pair, and that is all fitting in very nicely. Right, so we've got a 1, 8 pair there and a 3, 5 pair here. Now, this 12 cage has been appealing to me for a long time. I know there are only 2 ways to make up a 12 cage in 4 digits, which should have to be different. And they are either 1, 2, 4, 5. Clearly that's not the case here. So this must be 1, 2, 3, 6. So that's a 3, that's a 2. We get a 1 outside the box. 4 and 5 there. Now, 26 won't allow a 1 there, because the others would have to add up to 25, which is more than even 9, 8, 7 can manage. So it's an 8. Those add up to 12. These add up to 14, so they must be 9, 5. And we've virtually got the central 3 columns done now. And I'm sure, well, I mean, it is getting easier, but I don't know what the next step is. That is 2 or 3 by Sudoku. It sees 9, 8, 7, 6, 1 in the column and 5, 4 there. Ah, so does this. So that's 2 or 3. Now, this cage, 6 plus 2 or 3 is 8 or 9, leaving 6 or 5 here. Well, 6 isn't possible. So that's a 5. That's 3. That's 2. Now, what do we have in the column? We probably resolve these. A 4, 5 pair. And in this cage, no, we can't resolve them. That leaves a 1 or a 2 there. Fair enough. Now, if I was to add 16 and 17, that's 33. Ah, that makes these 4 cells equal 12, which again has to be either 1, 2, 4, 5 or 1, 2, 3, 6. And that is 4 or 5. So it has to be 1, 2, 4, 5. Because that can't be any of 1, 2, 3 or 6. So this, which can't be 4 or 5, is 1 or 2. That makes a 1, 2 pair. This is a 4, 5 pair. And this cage contains 3, 6 and 7. I can fill in the 3 and then a 6, 7 pair. Now I could go back to adding those 2 against these 2, but I'm not going to. I probably don't need to do that. Now these 2 are going to add up to 14 plus 21 is 35. Taken away from 45 means these 2 add up to 10. Well, that can't be a 4 then, because I can't put a 6 here. So 7, 3. This is a 4, 8, 9 cage, which I can fill in completely thanks to that 4 and 8. This has become, oops, this cell has become 6. Now, this has got a 6 in it, so it's 8, 1, 6 to make 15. That's a 2. 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 4 makes that 14 cage work. This is a lovely puzzle, isn't it? The way it unfolds is very pretty once you get that set break-in, and I'm pretty confident that there's nothing much more complex to do now. Well, maybe you don't think the set thing was complex. I know I do. Now, this can't be a 9 because that would break the cage. Could be an... Ah, that's even, and this is odd. And that's going to make this odd to make a 12 total. Actually, so does the fact that 4 and 2 appear there. This is a 1, 3, 5 triple. That's a 4, 8, 9 triple. This is 2, 6, 7 as a triple. That can't be 6. Right, how do we do the 19 cage? 9, 8, 2 would work. 9, 4, 6 would work. Oh, and 8, 4, 7. Okay, that's not all that helpful. What about this cage? Excuse me 1 second. Thank you. Okay, I don't know. Maybe let's look somewhere else. Down here. These can't have a 3 or 5 in. 1, 2, 4. So this, well, we've got 3, 7 and 6 here. 5, 8 and 9 down here. Right, maybe this 15 cage. That can't be a 6 by Sudoku. Ah, this can't be a 7 by maths, by arrow Sudoku. If that was a 7, these just can't add up to 7. So that's a 3, actually. 3 arrow is unusual in these puzzles for some reason, just because it's so constrained. I can't resolve those. That's either a 6-2 pair or a 7-1 pair. Now, 3 plus 6 is 9, 3 plus 7 is 10. Ah, it has to be 3 plus 7 with a 5 down there. That's a 6, that's a 2, and that's an 8-9 pair that I can't fix. 5, 2, 7, 4. That's not a 2, but there is a 2 in these cells, so that's a 2. Ah, that can't be a 5 since we got that. So 3 there, 1 there, 5, 1 to make up this 12 cage. That's now an 8. Oh, look, we got another 3 arrow. We've got 2 of them. I thought 1 was remarkable. 9, that's a 4 I'm trying to type. 13 plus 6. In fact, we can do the corner. 7 there. 2 here. This is, oh look, a couple of killer cages just to finish off with numbers. Excellent. And I think we're nearly done now. We've got 3 pairs left to do. This is a 7-3 pair. I can do those. That fixes the 7-6 pair. 1 and 6, and that is a 6, I said. There we go. That is a lovely puzzle. That's really clever. Yeah, you may have thought that my set break-in was a little ham-fisted, as I had to fooster around, as my wife would say, with these. Yeah, it's odd actually having to add in boxes to columns, but I think that's how it's meant to work. I don't know. Maybe there is a neater set break-in than those 4 sets against these 4 rows, but it did work beautifully. And it's not the first puzzle I've seen where 2 sets of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 match off against 1 set of 9, 8, 7, 6, because those conveniently add up to the same score. But it is a very elegant mechanism to do it here. Very nice puzzle. Thanks for watching. As always, do subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video sometimes, why not? But I will be back with you tomorrow. I should probably apologize briefly for a slight logical error in my solve yesterday, and B, failing to spot something in that solve as well for quite a long time. But occupational hazard, frankly, it's probably happened today as well, and I've no doubt the comments will be alive with something like that, but I don't mind. I just enjoy Sudoku, frankly. So here's to more of it. I will see you again tomorrow, hopefully, and as it is, bye for now.